Hello and welcome to Center Ice Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks, and I'm joined by my co-host and fellow hobbyist Aaron Goldstein, better known as Crease Collector. Jumping right into our featured segment, we are excited to finally look into a brand new product produced by Leaf as 2019-20 Leaf Lumber Kings Hockey, released on Friday, October 16th. Joining us now to discuss Lumber Kings is Leaf Vice President of Product Development, Gregg Kohn. Gregg, thank you so much for taking time to share about Lumber Kings.
My pleasure, guys. How you doing?
Good. And how about you?
Doing pretty good. Been a pretty busy week and working on product. And Lumber Kings releases today, so I've been watching some breaks online. I like to do that, get a sense of how people are reacting to the product.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just starting off with kind of a basic question, could you just walk us through the product as a whole a little bit and kind of what all is included with it as far as the cards themselves?
Sure. Well, as the title mentioned in the product, it's all sticks with the exception of a few printing plates. The idea behind it is it's a pretty unique product in the marketplace. It's based off sticks, almost all. And I think as a company, we're more comprehensive with our stick selection than any other company. As you know, Gordie Howe's and Sidney Crosby's. And in this particular product, we have Barilko and Jerry McNeil's, which you're never going to see anyone have. So the product, it's been successful for us for a couple of years. Whenever I build a product, no matter if it's Lumber Kings or Pearl or in the game used, I've always tried to add a few new elements to the product every year. This year, no exception with Lumber Kings. But the product is based off of, it's sticks, it's all wood. With some autographs thrown in. We've never used more nameplates than we did this particular year. Threw in some names from the old school that maybe people will recognize when they see them. And we added some, obviously the big names, Lemieux and the Jagers. But to me, it's just a fun product. It's priced accordingly. It's not, with the high price of Pearl or something like that. It's priced to you get your bang for your buck always. You're never going to lose on these boxes.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. And in your opinion, with Lumber Kings, what are some of the most noteworthy returning components of the product from the past few years?
Well, definitely the nameplates. Everyone always loves to get a nameplate off a stick. The twig SIGs, the singles, duals, and triples. Obviously, all of our sticks, one of the reasons why we have to, we're always purchasing sticks because we use jumbo sticks so often, more than you can even imagine. Everything's a jumbo stick, basically, for the base stick. So that's always nice. I love when people get the a jumbo, let's say aluminum or graphite stick, because they're so colorful. The problem is they're hollow, so the yield on those is not nearly as well as, let's say, a wood stick. You're getting the outer portion, which eats up most of the stick, and then very little small pieces. So we've got some new elements in this, but the returning stuff that I enjoy is the twig SIGs, nameplates, the jumbo sticks, and brought back complete stick this year with a piece of blade, piece of tape, and piece of stick.
Awesome, absolutely. And you've referred to a few times some of the new stuff that's in the product this year. Could you just talk about those new additions?
Sure. This year we added Blades of Glory, which is a jumbo blade, and it's massive. Those are the beautiful cards, and we've got blades in there, everyone from Lemieux, Jager, Barilko, Bauer, Jerry McNeil. I mean, just the greatest names you can imagine. Fedorov, McDavid, just all the names you can imagine in there. And they're rare. They're numbered low because you don't get, when you cut the blades that big, you get very little yield out of it. Maybe 7 to 8 pieces per blade at that size. And Belivo's got a blade in there. They're gorgeous. We added in dual nameplates this year. I think some of them are Jager, Lemieux, Brodeur, and Belfour. There's another big one in there off the top of my head. Then we have signed nameplates this year, which is new. So Lemieux, Jager, Fedorov, Brett Hull, Grant Fuhrer, a lot of great names in the signed nameplate set. And then as far as the nameplates go, we added some names outside of the top names you're always used to seeing. We have names like I saw someone pull a Steve Payne today. I saw Jason Arnott pull today. There's Mike Rogers, a star from the 70s, and Bill Hickey I saw pulled today. These are guys who play, 60s and 70s. So along with the big names, you're going to get guys that no one generally will see names of, and people seem to be excited by that. Of course, there is the Lemieux and the Jagers and the Messiers, but some of the names that are not seen as often, the Jeff Friesens, guys like that. you're going to see in this product. A lot of nameplates in there, almost one a case. It's probably if you take the duals and the signed nameplates, there's probably about 150 nameplates in the product.
That's incredible. I mean, I've always personally really loved, those stick nameplate cards, and seeing the duals out there this year is just really exciting. And now that we've kind of had a quick little rundown of what the returning content is, and as far as the newer content, in your opinion, which cards in the product stand out to you the most in the newest Lumber Kings product?
Stand out to me the most are probably the Blades of Glory. It's just because, like I said, you don't get a lot of yield out of blades. Blades are expensive to cut. They eat up they eat up the blade, so to speak, when we send them out to get cut. So they're expensive to cut, especially the graphites or the aluminum sticks, because they really crunch up their blades. So I think those are exciting. And to have blades of Barocco in there, and McNeil and Bellevaux, and it's just, you're not going to see that anywhere else but Leaf. And I've saved some back for more, so the next either stick work or Lumber Kings again will have some more blades in it. But I think those Blades of Glory are just something that no one else is going to do at that size. They're difficult to pull off, and we got quite a few of them in there this year. And we have dual Blades of Glory. So you'll see some matchups of, I think, Korea and Solani, and Yager Lemieux, and I think I did a McNeil Dryden, stuff like that. They're just beautiful cards. So probably that insert. And I would say there's some surprises in there, like I think it's the 6 Sticks of Dynamite. I threw Mickey Mantle in there and Ted Williams in there with Lemieux and Howe, just to mix it up a little bit. Some of the dual Twig SIGs this year, you'll see a Griffey Lemieux dual signed. You'll see a Phil Esposito with Carlton Fisk, and Guy Lafleur with Pete Rose. So I think those are fun. So like I said, every time you go and build a product that's been in your portfolio for a few years, you want to enhance it with something. You want to keep the brand as it is, what people enjoy it for, but you have to add something and say, ooh, that's something unique and cool and different. So that's with each product we'll do. That's what we did this year with this one, adding some new components. But those are the ones that excite me the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And you hinted at it there, establishing that feel of a product. What would you say, maybe with some inspiration for this specific iteration of the product, whether that just be from a content standpoint or maybe some design work, anything like that?
Generally, the inspiration for any product when it's coming back as a return year, I'll watch people break other products, see what they're enjoying. I jot down stuff, sometimes 2 a.m. I'll wake up and say, oh, I want to make sure I remember this, and I'll put it on my iPhone or something just to remember it. But the inspiration is generally watching other people break products, not even just our product, but what they enjoy about others, what I could do better about our stuff. With Lumber Kings last year, I thought to myself, well, nameplates were popular. Let's do some autos. Let's do some duals. I have some stuff I've saved for the next year. I thought the blades, because every time I get my sticks back from the company that cuts them, I have my blades stacked away and I save them for next year I'm going to do blades, jumbo blades, dual blades. So, the jumbo sticks, people always say you're wasting a lot of stick because they're so big. But man, when you see that giant piece, stick and some of the colors on it, it just, to me, that makes that product, those jumbo stick pieces. So I get inspiration from different areas. The inspiration probably was I read a couple of books about 70s hockey. I read a book about the California, the expansion teams, 68. I read a whole article about that. So it got me excited about some players of that era that I wanted to use more, that maybe because I love hockey, but hockey, it wasn't my first favorite sport. I mean, when I worked at Upper Deck for 10 years, I did football and baseball there. So I've been learning hockey for 7 years at Leaf, trying to get the players, understand who's collectible, who makes good combos. So that excites me when I'm able to read a book and say, oh God, these guys were fantastic. I read a couple of great books about 60s and 70s hockey. You don't have to go too much farther back than that. You can look, because there's 6 teams before that. But, I enjoy going back and seeing different eras of hockey and how that helps me develop and build a product.
That's always exciting. I remember hearing, I think on another podcast, that you are sort of new to hockey, like you were saying. And so seeing how you constantly go back in and try to learn more and more about the sport and its history just really goes to show you how dedicated you are into building these products. Not only building them, but building them with a sort of, I guess, authenticity or kind of drive behind it that you constantly want to improve on, which I feel like just personally is really, really cool to see. And if I'm a collector, why should I open boxes of Lumber Kings hockey or collect cards from it? If I'm sort of new to the hobby, In your opinion, why should I do that if I'm looking at, boxes to break and things like that? Why should it be Lumber Kings?
Sure. Well, I think there's a lot of different reasons, in my opinion. One is it's unique. It's different than most of the other, there's only two companies that make hockey. One of the companies is more rookie driven. We're more legendary driven. So if you want to get cards where you're not going to get anywhere else, vintage sticks, legendary autographs like in our products, you have to come to us to get it. And I think that's unique. I think that we, more than any company, offer a better bang for the buck. I think that the hits you get in our products generally, where we'll give 3, 4, 5, which are considered case hits per case, in another place you might take 10, 15, 20 cases to pull something like that. We pride ourselves on giving value per card, so to speak. I'm not a big believer in the term for our industry, ROI, return of investment, because I think this is a hobby. That's how I go into building products. I enjoy building products with themes, like hockey redraft, like we talked about, that's coming up in the game used hockey. I love that kind of stuff. Like in the twig sigs where I put Hawks or the Empire, or the oil, kind of different themed out products. I think people collect the Oilers. They love a card that says, the oil, something a little bit different with 8 different Oilers on it. We're the only company that's going to provide a card where you can get 8 Oilers on a card or 8 Hawks from different eras, 8 Flyers. There's a reason why you'll see other companies doesn't do any 8 swatches or really a lot of, I think 6 is their max. Because there's certain tolerances when you build a card that we've gotten pretty good at. If you go past certain ones, the cards start to have little creases in it, and they have strict tolerances that we've learned how to get through, that we can put 8 cards. So, but the cutting of 8 swatches and 6 swatches at the level we do it. I mean, if you open a box of Lumber Kings, you're always going to see something with an 8 or a 6 in it. So there's a lot of reasons to buy our products based off of not just value, but the uniqueness of it. There are things, look, you can buy products throughout the year and get, the rookies from, 10, 15 products, the same rookies. There's not many places you can get the stuff we provide, and Lumber Kings is an example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you'd want to add or share about the product?
Like I said, I think it's an enjoyable product. Like I said, whenever a new product of ours comes out, I'll watch all the breaks online to see how people react, because that gives me, if I see someone reacting not so great to a certain insert or a player or something, I'll say, okay, I could improve on that or do something better. But I just think, this product, you'll never feel cheated. You open a box, you're always going to recognize most of the names. You're going to get Lemieux and Brett Hull and Bobby Hull and Gordie Howe and Frank Mahovlich. You're always going to see these names throughout. Beliveau. I mean, Richard's got sticks in this. You're always going to see recognizable quality names in these, and then names also mixed in that you're not going to see rookies in our products. It's not our game. You're going to see legends and you're going to see signatures. We're still trying to get, one of the things we do always is look for new signature signers for our products. It's hard in hockey because the certain guys just don't have the value. Obviously, we can't use Gretzky and or Wall anymore, but we have Lemieux, and we have Mahovlich and Grant Fuhrs and guys like that, Hasek, Brodeur. We're always trying to get the names like that to make sure they fall in our product quite often.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, Greg. We greatly appreciate it, and we're so glad that we could finally get you on the show. I know we'd had a few people asking about when we'd get you on, and we were definitely looking forward to it, and glad it finally came together for Lumber Kings.
Oh, I appreciate it. And like I said, in the future, we've got In the Game Used Hockey coming up, which is beautiful. And then we're going to put out information, I think, the end of next week for 2021 Pearl Hockey. And that's going to be a lot different than Pearl in the past. It's expensive product, no question, but I think I've already got 70 shields in it. We're doing about 15 one-of-one 16 signed booklet cards. I know you've seen on some of the stuff I posted, the Vezina buckle. Along with Vezinas and Tiny Thompsons, we're doing buckles of Brodeur and Hasek and, more contemporary type of goalies. So it's just going to be a crazy product in terms of the value you get. So look for information for that coming soon, and I'll come back whenever you guys want, when In the Game Used and Pearl and Ultimate Hockey eventually comes around early on next year.
Awesome. Yeah, well, not to spoil the surprise, we've kind of hinted at it a little bit, but I have pre-ordered a case of In the Game Used Hockey. So we're hoping and planning that when that comes out to do a live break of the case on the show. So hopefully it'll work out that you'll be able to join us for that and kind of go through the case and just enjoy that.
I don't see why not. That sounds fun.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Greg. We really appreciate your time.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, that was awesome. And it was great to finally get Gregg on the show. I know we'd been looking forward to that for a while, like I mentioned, and, kind of knew that it was being put off just because Lumber Kings had been delayed a little bit. But yeah, definitely great to get him to come on finally. He's a great guy, in case, you guys couldn't tell that. Obviously very passionate about what he does, and very passionate about just providing the best possible content for collectors. And I think it's very evident that Leaf does a great job doing that. So just changing gears a little bit, last episode we talked about quite a few players who have either been traded or signed as part of this offseason over the last couple of weeks. And, we kind of figured that maybe that would be the only time we brought that up. But, of course, there's been a few other big names that have been on the move, or even in some cases not on the move, with Marc-Andre Fleury staying in Vegas. And of course, Taylor Hall going to Buffalo, Alex Pietrangelo going to Vegas, and some other big names like that. But one that just came down the pike the other day, well, actually today when we're recording this, but one that definitely caught everybody's attention when it was announced was Joe Thornton signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, Aaron, being our resident Maple Leaf fan, just unpack this a little bit for us and maybe what this means as far as his hobby value and just the hobby in general.
Absolutely. And as far as like the resident Leaf fan, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'll take it. Yeah. So when this podcast is officially sent out into the world, you guys have already heard about that, but we're kind of just learning about it today. Joe Thornton signs with the Toronto Maple Leafs for a league minimum $700,000. People were rumoring that he could re-sign with San Jose for like, $1 million or something, but no, he chose league minimum $700,000 to play on the Maple Leafs. Although it is kind of hard to believe that he will be changing teams, he's been with San Jose for 15 years. Obviously, he wants to win a cup before it's all said and done. He's 41, so this will probably be his last season in the NHL. And so, yeah, he wants to win a cup. And obviously, he's from around here. He's from London, Ontario. So, of course, hometown guy. So, he wants to win. And Toronto, it seems like a really good destination. Like, I know, even myself, we have our doubts about the Leafs. But if they get hot, man, they could win it, definitely on paper, especially with the veteran presence like Joe Thornton. On paper, they do look as good as ever once again this year. We'll see if that translates into any playoff success, but who knows? But as far as Joe Thornton goes, definitely a good signing for them at league minimum. And as far as the hobby goes, I was checking out Joe Thornton's values actually right before hopping on the podcast. And his value is pretty decent, especially if you go in the newer stuff like Stature, some of his newer cards from that product. I mean, the newness factor of the cards do play a factor, but just being Jumbo Joe, he definitely has some pull in the hobby. Of course, some passionate collectors there with San Jose Sharks. And as far as the Maple Leafs go, we touched on this a lot last episode with players switching teams, like Eric alluded to, but that will definitely do nothing but grow Joe Thornton's hobby value. And if any of you guys collect Joe Thornton out there, which I know there are one or two of you guys, there's going to be some cool cards coming down the pipe to like you guys. And as far as his hobby value goes, you can definitely see that go for a big spike, especially if the Leafs get hot, or if they go on a deep run with Jumbo Joe there. I mean, I definitely see his cards going up. I was looking at I'm not sure if it's his rarest card out there as far as his rookie goes, as far as parallels and what have you, but his Black Diamond rookie from 96 is actually a pretty sought after card. I'm not sure if it was limited for a certain reason that year or if it was just very condition sensitive, but if you can find a card of Joe's from Black Diamond that year, he's pictured on Team Canada, it's worth a pretty penny. I was looking before the show, like I said, and it was an auction by PWCC, which I'm not sure if that changes your opinion or anything, but it sold for a whopping $420, and that was a BGS graded 9 copy. And I know a 9 might not raise any eyebrows, especially because nowadays it's the 9.5s, the 10s, things like that. But a 9 for a 96 Black Diamond for those cards specifically, as far as condition, is a very good card. And even I believe it was a PSA 8 of the same card sold for like $250 or something as well. So again, these grades might not shock you, but for those who have been in the hobby, especially in the 90s and the boom that was the 90s, a Black Diamond from 96 grading that high is quite significant, especially for a guy like Joe Thornton, who's been around there in the NHL for many years now. And another factor to, I guess, factor in to his rookie card and the value that it still pertains even today is that he is pictured on Team Canada, which is something you don't see, at all anymore with regards to rookie cards. But for Joe's and his movement over his career from Boston, being a standout there, and then to San Jose, and now to Toronto, his rookie card is still almost timeless, because we often say when a player is traded, his young gun is doomed because he's usually pictured on a different team, which of course hurts card values in hockey. But for Joe's case, and him being pictured on Team Canada, it's really interesting to me that when I think about his rookie card from back in the late 90s, is that one of the factors that kind of keep collectors coming back, is that he's not pictured on a particular NHL team, which kind of, might turn collectors off. He's pictured on the national team with Team Canada. So he's kind of like very neutral in regards to his rookie card. So I wonder if that is also part of the reason why his rookie card has stayed so high over the years, is of course of who he is, Joe Thornton, but of course just that Team Canada pictured card. So, I mean, I don't have any stats to back it up, of course, but his rookie card is a unique one for sure. So on the Leafs, it's going to be exciting just seeing him suit up for the Leafs. But of course, as far as the hobby is concerned, I would love to see that very same BGS 9 mint copy come up for sale again, maybe this time next year, or maybe a bit earlier, depending on what the Leafs do in the playoffs, to see what value that could garner there. So that would be very interesting. But Joe Thornton on the Leafs, league minimum. His rookie card is already pretty good, and it's always going to be really exciting to see what happens next year. So that's all I have for now.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, and I hadn't thought about that, just kind of that timeless factor of not having an NHL team associated with that card. I think that's a really good point. Definitely would be kind of an interesting study, so to speak. Other guys from that era that had rookie cards that predated, kind of the updated rules of how rookie cards work. And that's definitely a very good point. And definitely, like you said, I mean, obviously with him going to Toronto, it's going to be, grounds for his cards going up in value again. I mean, his cards, have always been very valuable no matter where he's been, and pretty much no matter what stage in his career. He's been a top end player pretty much since day one of his career. And even though he isn't necessarily quite as good as he used to be, he's still a very solid player, and obviously is an extremely well-established player, and I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. So
no doubt.
Yeah, just seeing him take that next step to really chase after a cup, after things have kind of gone south in San Jose of late, it kind of took me by surprise, honestly, because I just figured, he's the San Jose Shark, and, he's just going to stay there, and, whenever he decides to stop playing, that'll be that. But, he's a San Jose Shark. So, and I know that there had been the conversation and, some talk about him going to the Leafs potentially. And, when I saw that stuff, it was kind of just, I don't know, like I understand it and it makes sense, but I don't know. I just didn't see it. So then when it happened today, being Friday, it just really kind of caught me off guard and just made me say, wow, this is really happening. Joe Thornton is not a San Jose Shark anymore. Pretty cool, not only just for hockey fans in general, but for the hobby too. It'll be really interesting. It's not exactly the same, but kind of like how we were talking last time, Henrik Lundqvist isn't a New York Ranger anymore. And like seeing that on cardboard is just going to be so strange and different. And I think that that'll, definitely get people's attention when they get even just base and low end insert cards of those guys this upcoming season. Just to have kind of that novelty factor attached to those cards, I think will be really cool. Must say I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't some kind of grand announcement with that. I was really hoping to see a dual pajama swatch card with him and Tavares, but wasn't meant to be. So anyway, enough about the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Let's talk about the NHL in general and hockey cards in general. Obviously, a big, hot button topic of late has been 2020-21 Upper Deck Series 1. And for good reason. Obviously, it's a very anticipated product every single year. And of course, with Alexis Lafreniere just being drafted, the anticipation for his Young Guns rookie card has been extremely high, especially with him being in a big market like New York. So the anticipation has been building up for 2021 Upper Deck Series 1, but people are going to have to wait a little bit longer as unfortunately it's been pushed back. As of right now, the tentative release date is November 18th. In years past, obviously Upper Deck 1 has come out in time for the Fall Expo, but of course with the Fall Expo not taking place this year in its traditional sense, there isn't that quote unquote hard deadline for Upper Deck to meet with it. So, some people might say, oh, that's just Upper Deck being lazy or, whatever. Well, I think it's kind of crazy to say that because why would they just want to delay it, right? Like that just doesn't make any sense. But also, on the other side, it actually gives them more time to make the product as good as it can be. You look at a number of different components of a product and, it just takes time. And obviously Upper Deck 1 specifically, is primarily focused on having young guns of, the new rookie crop. And while this year is obviously different, there are still those guys from the bubble that are going to be able to be in Upper Deck 1. So just giving Upper Deck more time to really, hit the nail on the head with those young guns. And then, of course, with the Lafreniere cards, obviously there hasn't been an official announcement that he will have his young gun in Upper Deck 1. Theoretically, it could be in Upper Deck 2, but just for the sake of the conversation, I think, it's probably reasonable to expect that the Lafreniere young gun will be in Upper Deck 1 just to really help drive the product. It could be in Upper Deck 2, but I really don't see that happening. I really feel that it will be in Series 1. And one kind of thing to note about that, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but just in terms of what that Lafreniere young gun will actually look like as far as the photography used on the card. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it, but Upper Deck recently put out kind of a hype video, so to speak, to promote Alexis Lafreniere. And they had him skating around on a practice rink wearing Rangers gear. So, that kind of begs the question of, okay, at the very least, they did this video shoot, which, you could assume they probably took photos there as well. So is the photo for the Lafreniere young gun going to be from that photo shoot? At this point, I would say it's probably a somewhat safe bet that would be the case. Like we mentioned last time, I think we were kind of hoping that wouldn't be the case. It'd be nice to see Upper Deck really embrace the situation and say, hey, this is going to be something different. So let's just make the card different. Let's make it really stand out and try to do something really cool and unique. And of course, we don't know anything. We don't have any inside insight from Billy or anybody else at Upper Deck, about that card or about the product specifically. But just based on what we have seen, publicly, I think it's probably somewhat of a safe bet to think that the Lafreniere young gun will feature a photo from that informal rookie photo shoot, so to speak, with Lafreniere this past week. So yeah, we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on 2021 Series 1 just being delayed and talk about the Lafreniere young gun as well. Aaron, is there anything with any of that you would want to discuss at all?
As far as the unfortunate pushback that this delay might get, I just want to quickly remind everyone that in the year that we're living in right now, with the coronavirus pandemic, this has kind of log jammed about every distribution channel you can think of, unfortunately. So although we as collectors would love to see products, not only Series 1, but every product, I believe Upper Deck Artifacts was delayed as well, be on time. This year is a little bit different for obvious reasons. So I think there should be a little bit of an understanding with card companies as far as like release dates go for 2020-21, just because of everything that's going on. And they should be given some slack at least. So I have no problem with the pushback. And Eric, like you said, this gives them a little bit more time to kind of tighten things up on the product before it does get released. I have no problem with that at all. So it's definitely going to be a good product for sure. And I'm excited to see the results of Upper Deck Series 1. As far as the Lafreniere Young Guns go, I do think it will be a photo shoot from that hype video. I think it's pretty, maybe not obvious, but I think it's a step forward. You know, they shot the video, and of course they would probably take some promotional photos and all of that stuff. So it would be safe to assume that the Young Guns will feature a photo from that photo shoot. So, which, hey, I mean, we'll see how it looks. I mean, you know, I'm not going to judge a book by its cover yet. We'll probably see a little promo of it, or maybe even some copies before pack out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And with the right angle, I guess it could look okay, but we'll see what happens. It was a little bit disappointing to see that it doesn't have his nameplate on the back or the numbers. I figured, how could that be? But I mean, obviously he hasn't joined the team yet, so he doesn't have a number yet. But we'll see. I mean, who knows? They could get him to wear a couple of different jerseys. Maybe they'll have his draft year on it and use those types of jerseys for some memorabilia cards. We'll have to see how that works out. But it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm not going to give my full opinion on it yet because obviously we haven't seen the cards. But yeah, we'll just wait and see on this one. But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, they did determine what number he's going to wear. They announced it this past week. He'll be wearing number 13.
Oh, nice. Okay, so maybe if they can kind of redo his photo shoot jersey, take some more pictures, and have more of a complete offering to show on a card, and also to offer with the game use stuff, that should be pretty good for collectors, at least, to get some authenticity there, so to speak, as far as, you know, the numbering and things like that. But that does it for me, and that does it for our podcast tonight. Unless, Eric, you want to add anything extra?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, you know, you bringing up that point of in that photo shoot that he was just wearing a blank Rangers jersey, you know, definitely is kind of interesting and makes you wonder, was that really just for a promo video? You know,
I mean, they could have done another one the next week. Like, we have no idea, right? They could have found out he got his number 13, like you said, this week. And then they could have, you know, done another photo shoot. We really have no idea right now. It's just for everyone. It's just kind of the wait and see game.
Yeah. Or, I mean, even they could have just, you know, I know that he had kind of wanted for his number to kind of be a secret. It sounded like he knew or has known for a little while what number he was going to wear, but it hadn't been announced. So maybe, you know, just for that hype video that they put out, maybe they just had him put on a blank jersey for that. And they actually,
that makes sense.
Maybe he actually did have a number 13, you know, customized jersey for the actual photo shoots that they were doing for cards. So maybe that's a possibility too. And I'm sure that, you know, logistically would probably make a lot of sense for Upper Deck just to, you know, have to do one photo shoot instead of two, just because he waited a few extra days to announce his number. So yeah, that's just another thought I had on it. But yeah, that's all for me.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to see play out. As far as our listeners there, if you want to connect with us on social media, we just want to know for this episode, if you plan on opening or collecting any of the new 1920 Leaf Lumber Kings, just your general thoughts on the Joe Thornton signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And as far as the Lafreniere Young Gun goes, would you prefer to see Upper Deck use that on-ice kind of photo shoot style photo, or an off-ice photo instead, and kind of get creative with that as well? So just, yeah, let us know your thoughts on that as always, and we'll be posting these up on social media.
Yeah, so that'll do it for episode 17. We've
17. Wow, almost 20 episodes.
I know, it seems like we've been rattling them off pretty quickly of late, but I know, I feel like we were just doing 14 and 15 like yesterday, but yeah, here we are 17 episodes in and not slowing down at all. So that's great. Thank you guys so much for tuning in all the time. We really appreciate you guys listening, and, you know, we really enjoy seeing the listenership numbers and just having you guys interact with us on social media. You know, that's why we do this. We enjoy getting that feedback from you guys and, you know, hearing that you're enjoying what we're doing. So please keep doing that. You know, that's why we do this. We like knowing, you know, that you guys are enjoying this and getting things from it. So keep it up, and, you know, we're happy to produce that content for you guys. So as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Center Ice Cardcast, and on Twitter at Center Ice CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Center Ice Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.